SIX posted an operating income of almost 2 billion Swiss francs. Now, this is almost the same as last year. But a big change, though, in the net profit that you can see right here at the bottom. It's climbed up to almost 2.3 billion Swiss francs. Now, this is due to the sale of SIX card business, mostly. Well, last year, we saw the highest number of IPOs in Switzerland since 2001, a total of 12. Companies went public in 2018. It remains to be seen how many listings we will see this year, of course, but companies like Stadler Rail have been rumored to go public. But we know of two certain IPOs so far, Medacta in the second quarter and Novartis subsidiary Alcon as well. They would be included, of course, Alcon in the SMI after the spin-off. So two expected for this year. Now, let's take a look at the trading place of the future and digital disruption. Well, two pieces of news recently made headlines. First of all, in July last year, SIX announced a digital exchange based on blockchain technology. That's right here. And then in March this year, just last week, to be honest, Swisscom announced a partnership with Sygnum and Deutsche Börse to create a whole digital asset ecosystem. Very exciting news, of course. Now, to talk to me about all of this is the man himself, Jos Dijsselhof, the CEO of SIX. Thank you so much for coming in. So let's first of all talk about your profit numbers. Of course, net profit jump last year mainly due to price cuts and the transfer of your card business.
Yes.
What other factors have played into this whole equation?
Yeah. As you mentioned already, our exchange has done really well. So we have good growth in our exchange business, both on the capital raising side, but also on the trading side. So that has pushed our business forward. And of course, therefore, also on the post-trade side.
Now let's the past be the past and focus on 2019. What is your profit outlook for this year, Jos?
No, I think we, as you just said, we sold the cards business. So from the 2 billion top line, we go to 1 billion top line. And we will be fairly profitable at the end of this year. We have a lot of initiatives that we invest in, so we have a good balance between paying our dividend, having a profitable business and investing in our business.
Now, the future is not always that rosy. Of course, you paint a very positive picture, but what are the biggest headwinds for SIX this year?
I think the biggest headwinds, of course, we are in the middle of the global markets. So if volumes and volatility are there, we do well. If the market is still and not many people trade or go in and out, then there's a little bit less business for us, and that will not be good for us. We are, of course, also reliant on a good climate to do IPOs. And there are always a couple of IPO windows during the year. So we hope that in 2019, we are comfortable that within 2019, there will be some good windows of opportunity there. And then our financial information business, which is really our data business, is really up for growth. And we have a couple of really strong initiatives to drive that forward.
IPOs, that's the magic word for me. So we have two IPOs that we have just seen, which are confirmed. How many are you expecting for this year?
It's very difficult and almost impossible
to mention a number. I'm sure you know a little bit more about that.
No, we know about the two. We have healthy discussions with all the different stakeholders, and it looks really promising. 2019 looks promising, but more perhaps in the second half of the year or in the second half of the year, not so much in the first couple of months, of course.
So let me grill you a little bit on that, because in 2018 we saw 12.
Yes.
Do we see similar numbers for this year or less?
I think it will be similar. But whether it's 14 or 10 or 12, that's very difficult to predict. We have a couple of chunky ones, so sizable ones. So I think in terms of capital raised, I'm quite positive that we will do equally well as last year.
And which sectors will the IPOs come from? Is it mainly healthcare and technology, or do you see other industries also going public?
I think healthcare and technology is our sweet spot. That's what we're known for, and that's where we have the comparables on our exchange. So I would expect to see also that happening this year. But we also there's also quite some interest from other industries, technology, industrials. So there's a good mix, I think, of pipeline growing. So we are bullish that it's going to be a good diversified portfolio this year.
Now, in the European payments industry, we also see quite a lot of movement. Where are you looking for takeovers there?
Yeah. We're not in the payment industry, we're not really looking at takeovers because we've decided that our business, our cards business and payments business would be better off with Worldline. So that's why we sold the business to Worldline. In return, we are 27% owner of that business and Worldline will do the aggregation within Europe. So if there are good acquisition targets, they will do it for us.
So this basically means that you're ruling out any takeover by SIX this year?
In the payment space, not in some of the other businesses.
Could you imagine takeovers, acquisitions in some of your other business lines?
Yeah, of course. We are looking at adjacent things close to our capital markets and business, exchange business on one hand, and on the other hand, the data business. That's a business we really want to grow. There's a lot of value. Data is the new gold, as people say. So we will invest into that business, and M&A is part of that growth.
Be a bit more specific with me, Jos.
Yep.
In which geographies and which industries in specific are you looking for acquisitions? Here in Europe or elsewhere?
We are very rich on data in Europe and in Switzerland, but we have an international business. What we want to do is acquire companies that add extra value add on top of the data. So analytics, reporting, these kind of capabilities. Very likely closer to home, but if there are good opportunities more international, we also operate in the US and in Asia, then we will also look at that. It's very difficult to predict exactly where you're going to be, but that's the area we are targeting, and that can happen across the globe, but the closer to home, the better.
Let's take a little bit of a look at recent news where we saw the partnership between Sygnum, Swisscom and Deutsche Börse to build a digital asset platform. You mentioned that this is good competition. How good is this competition for you? You must feel nervous, no? No,
we're not nervous. As you rightfully pointed out, we started in July last year. So we are very, very far ahead in building a exchange business on digital technology where we can really offer asset classes on a digital technology and digital exchange to our trading communities. We are in the heart, we are in the middle of everything. We have all the stakeholders right at our table. We have the knowledge on how to deal with the FINMA and other regulations. So we are well positioned. I would say we are on pole position to deliver this to the market. Of course,
they will say the same thing, and competition is also very, very fierce. No. So that could give you some sleepless nights, no?
Not really, not really. I think we are ahead of the curve. It's not just this initiative, but also LSE, Thai Exchange, other exchanges are doing initiatives similar or parts of what we try to do, but we are very uniquely positioned. We have the capital raising, the trading, the clearing, and we even clear the Swiss francs. So we have the whole value chain, and that's unique. So could you imagine to team up with one of those players as well, or do you want to walk the walk alone? No. We're always open to collaborate, to work with others. We also think this digital world will be a global space, not just a pure Switzerland space. And even if there are other initiatives here in Switzerland, like the one that was announced last week, and it makes sense to work together or to deliver some services to each other, we are very open to that, as always. So there is even a probability and possibility that you could team up with these three players, Sygnum, Deutsche Börse and Swisscom, or would you pick other companies? These three might not be the most logical ones because they are teaming up together and have a clear plan, which I don't know in detail, of course. But if there are opportunities, then even to them we will talk. But other opportunities of working together, partnering, together creating a market where all the participants can benefit from the new technology in a safe, investor-protected environment regulated by the FINMA is what we really drive. And do you think that here in Switzerland we have enough exciting players that can offer that kind of range of services and digital technologies that you're looking for? Yes, absolutely. Switzerland is number one in terms of the most innovative countries. We have big banks here, we have trading, we have asset management, we have private banks. Everything comes together in this beautiful country. So therefore I think it's a really good place to do this. You still think it's a beautiful country, even though you're from the Netherlands when it comes to digital technologies and innovation and so on? Netherlands is also quite a strong country in this space, but I think Switzerland has even something more unique. Maybe also a little bit of competition in that area. Now, let me talk about the future of the Swiss financial centre. In January, SIX released a white paper on the likely 8 scenarios for Switzerland, and the most likely is that listing remains a sign of quality and digital assets will skyrocket. Yep. Is this still the most likely scenario, and how do you see Switzerland as a place, financial market of the future? If you read some studies, then there are studies that predict that a very, very big part of the currently existing assets that you can invest in, and even some assets that you cannot invest in, will be digitalized and then made available on the capital markets. And we believe that's really going to happen. The pace of that is always difficult to predict. But in the end of the day, capital raising has to be done in an environment where the right people come together in terms of investing, in terms of advisory, in terms of distribution. And that's really a quality game which we think still continues.
And how lucrative do you think is Switzerland as a IPO listing marketplace? Because you compete with Hong Kong and New York and London, of course. Yeah. So how can you attract more companies to go public here?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have some really big companies already here in Switzerland. If you look at the Stoxx Top 50, the top 5, 3 of them are Swiss. So we are well positioned and we have a strong market. Some people say the Swiss exchange punches above its weight. I think we're punching at our weight. We are a strong exchange, high liquidity. So it is very attractive for people to list here. Also, the regulatory regime, the legal regime is all very reliable and predictable. And therefore, people like to invest in an environment like that. So I'm bullish we can compete.
Right, but it's a long way to go to attract companies like Uber, Lyft, Pinterest, Slack, all of these big firms. Yep. They would never list here in Switzerland, is it?
If we get an Uber here in Switzerland or in Europe, I'm sure they will start talking to us.
That would be amazing. But is this your goal as well, to attract such a big player? Or do you think that you would run into troubles in terms of infrastructure and regulations and so on?
We're not into attracting one big player. We want to create comparables. We want to create a set of companies on our exchange where you really have the depth of the market and the comparable investment opportunities. Just getting one big player will not do a trick. It might look great on the term sheets and on the screen, but we really are looking for quality and a really deep market with good liquidity and good pricing.